You see, almost everywhere you look today, people are obsessed with fixing themselves. There are books, seminars, podcasts, entire industries built on the idea that you are not enough, not successful enough, not disciplined enough, not spiritual enough. And so you must work and grind and constantly upgrade yourself as though you were a broken machine waiting for repair. But here's the strange paradox. The more you try to improve yourself, the more inadequate you feel. The more you chase after perfection, the more flawed you believe you are. It becomes a game you can never win, because no matter how many habits you build, how many affirmations you repeat, how many techniques you master, there is always that whisper inside. It's still not enough. And this is where the great misunderstanding lies. You believe there is some separate you inside who must whip yourself into shape, who must stand above your own mind and command it to be better. But who is this you? Who is the watcher who keeps trying to improve the doer? Alan Watts would tell you that this very effort is the problem. The search for a better self traps you in endless dissatisfaction. Because as long as you are trying to fix yourself, you are, by definition, assuming you are broken. And when you start from that assumption, no amount of work will ever be enough. So perhaps the real freedom begins not with another project of self-improvement, but with the radical acceptance that there is nothing fundamentally wrong with you to begin with. Now, let's look more closely at why you believe you need fixing at all. From the very beginning, society conditions you with the idea that you are incomplete. As a child, you are constantly told, be quiet, behave, don't do that, be more like this, less like that. Slowly, you begin to absorb the message. There is something wrong with me as I am. And this message gets stronger as you grow older. Schools rank you. Parents compare you. Society measures you against impossible ideals of beauty, success, intelligence, even spirituality. You are bombarded with advertisements that whisper, you are not enough, but if you buy this product or follow this program, maybe then you will be. And without realizing it, you begin to live your whole life under the spell of deficiency. But here's the great trick. This sense of being broken is not natural. It's learned. It is a cultural story, not a fact of existence. Look at a tree. Look at a river. Look at the clouds drifting across the sky. None of them sit around wishing they were different, better, more polished. A tree does not try to fix its crooked branches. The river does not criticize the rocks in its bed. The clouds do not attempt to rearrange themselves into better shapes. They simply are, and in their being, they are complete. Yet you, a human being, a manifestation of the universe, every bit as natural as a tree or a cloud, have been taught to doubt yourself. You've been convinced that who you are in this moment is somehow unacceptable. And so you chase after a future version of yourself that will finally deserve love, success, peace. But notice what happens when you chase. The present moment is always inadequate. Life becomes an endless rehearsal for a performance that never comes. You run faster and faster toward a horizon that keeps retreating. The irony is that the harder you strive to become whole, the more broken you feel. Alan Watts called this the ego's trick. The ego is a phantom that convinces you it can control, discipline, and transform itself. But it's like trying to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, an endless loop, an impossible paradox. You are both the patient and the doctor, the problem and the solver, forever caught in the game of fixing what was never broken. So here is the radical shift, to see that this sense of brokenness is a story, not a truth. You are not a project. You are not an unfinished product on an assembly line. You are life itself, flowing, shifting, imperfectly perfect, just as the river flows and the clouds drift. And the moment you see this, the compulsion to fix yourself begins to dissolve. When you begin to see through the illusion of being broken, something extraordinary happens. The tension you've carried all your life, the endless striving, the constant measuring, the voice whispering not enough begins to lose its power. You realize that the universe never asked you to be perfect. The stars don't sparkle in straight lines. The ocean doesn't crash in measured rhythms. Life is not a straightened, polished product. It is messy, wild, unpredictable, and beautiful precisely because of that. The idea that you must fix yourself is like standing in the middle of the ocean and trying to iron out every wave so the water will be smooth. But the beauty of the ocean is in the waves. The beauty of life is in the roughness, the quirks, the so-called imperfections. They are not flaws. They are the very texture of existence. Alan Watts often said, trying to improve yourself is like polishing a brick to make it a mirror. No matter how hard you polish, it never becomes a mirror. And yet in trying so hard, you miss the truth. You are already reflecting the whole cosmos exactly as you are. What happens when you stop trying to fix yourself? You begin to actually live. You begin to taste the present moment without the constant judgment that it isn't good enough. You laugh more easily. You breathe more freely. You love without needing to be worthy first. It is not about becoming passive or lazy. It is about recognizing that genuine change does not come from the whip of self-improvement, but from the natural unfolding of life when you stop resisting. A flower does not bloom by self-discipline. It blooms because the conditions are right, because it is its very nature to open. In the same way, you do not need to force yourself into being better. When you stop fighting who you are, the most natural, authentic growth happens on its own, not because you are broken, but because life itself is growth. So, hear this clearly. There is nothing wrong with you. There never was. The idea that you are inadequate is a borrowed story, not a fundamental truth. And the moment you stop trying to fix yourself, you discover the incredible freedom of simply being alive, unpolished, imperfect, and completely whole.